All right. Thank you for tuning in to NFL Live Stream of Consciousness, rocking with you on a Tuesday. Let's go ahead and get to the big news. You would think Aaron Rodgers breaking the bank and getting 50 a year would be the big news, but it's not because Russell Wilson just got traded from the Seahawks to Denver. At first look at the trade, Seattle gets 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th-round pick, Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and Shelby Harris. I don't know. I just don't think Seattle got enough. This literally puts the Broncos in Super Bowl contention. And if you're trying to make that type of trade, I think Matthew Stafford got traded for 2 first-rounders. I think he's a better player than Matthew Stafford. And given the desperation that I think the Broncos probably had to make this trade, I probably would have tried to squeeze one more 1st-round pick. And you might say, hey, it's 1 1st-round pick, but those things are, worth their weight in gold. So I think it's obvious that, the breakup was coming. It looks like there was just some unhappiness there. I feel like maybe Seahawks coach probably felt some disloyalty that Russell Wilson was showing in the sense that he always defended him over the defensive players in the LOB run. But I've been saying for a while, I didn't think that Russell Wilson was in the elite tier of quarterbacks, but I still think that he's still a good quarterback, a top 10 to 12 quarterback in the NFL. And you give him the weaponry that Denver has with Jerry Jeudy, with Cortland Sutton, with Tim Patrick, with Hamler, with the running game of that Javonte Williams, who I thought was the most impressive young running back in the league last year. You put all this together, I think they're definitely a contender. What's crazy is that the AFC is just becoming more and more top heavy. You have a situation where that one of these elite young quarterbacks are not going to make the playoffs. Let's go ahead and, bring up the AFC. If you can see a little bit better here, with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, you have Josh Allen here. You have Denver with Russell Wilson. You have Kansas City, the Raiders with Derek Carr. He's starting to get that good quarterback love. And you have the Chargers with Herbert. One of these teams are guaranteed a playoff spot. So one of those guys that I just mentioned are going to miss the playoffs, and most likely 2 of these guys, because there's always one of these teams that comes out of nowhere and lurks into that thing. So more than likely, 2 of these guys are not even going to make the playoffs. Any of those guys that I just named would be the best quarterback in this division, would be the second best quarterback in this division, would be the best quarterback in the NFC East, the second best in the NFC North, the best in the NFC South, arguably probably the best in the NFC West. Yeah, I would say they're the best in the NFC West. So besides Aaron Rodgers, all of those guys would be the next best guy in the NFC. That's insane how top heavy the AFC has become. It's insane. I think if you're an NFC team now that's in the market for the quarterback, the Carolina Panthers, the Washington Commanders, Philadelphia Eagles, even the Giants, the Lions, Minnesota, they've talked about maybe moving on, New Orleans. I think that means you have to even, more substantially up your ante for Deshaun Watson. I think because of how top heavy the AFC has become, it just leaves a dearth of players in the NFC of that caliber. And if you get a Deshaun Watson, you immediately put yourself in Super Bowl contention, because once you get to the game, anything can happen. And with how bad the quarterback play is right now in the NFC, it's crazy. It's really crazy that I've never seen an exodus of talent this way, that all the talent is in the NFC. You have to get to, you could say that Derek Carr would be the second best quarterback in the entire NFC. That's insane. That's insane. So yeah, I mean, it's good for Broncos. They've had a stacked roster for a while. I personally think that Russell Wilson's been a bit overrated in his career, and he's starting to lose some of that escapability. But he's never had the core of weapons that he's had. He has an offensive head coach right now, Nathaniel Hackett, who Aaron Rodgers, praised, highly spoke highly of. A lot of players on the team spoke highly of. So we'll see. Um, Speaking about Aaron Rodgers, that's a good segue. So he just broke the bank, got $50 million for how many years? 4 years, 50 million with 153 guaranteed. So that's going to keep him to 42. So I said that was the big domino to fall, whether he was going to leave or he was going to go to the Broncos or ask for a trade. It doesn't surprise me that the Broncos waited. They said that they've been negotiating this trade for a while, but I'm sure they waited to see what Aaron Rodgers' decision was first before making this trade, because obviously Aaron Rodgers is the better player. But this means that now they're probably going to bring back Devontae Adams in one way, shape, or form. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers is probably going to ask that he's getting taken care of. But once he signs on the dotted line, his leverage kind of goes out the window. So we'll see how that situation works. It means that they're probably going to trade Jordan Love. I know that a lot of people thought that he played poorly, and I did when he played versus the Chiefs, but the renowned Greg Cosell said he actually played very well, and there was just a couple of offensive miscues that had nothing to do with him that led to the score and his play looking the way that it did. So it'll be very interesting to see who ends up trading for him. Once again, now that Russell Wilson has moved out, he is clearly the best quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, in the NFC, and it doesn't look like anyone is significantly close to him. So, it's been set up for them to go to the Super Bowl and to win it the last 2 years. So you have to, if you're a Chargers fan, if you're a Packers fan, you have to be extremely disappointed on what happened, extremely disappointed on the way things are shucking out. And the hope is now that he has signed and there isn't as much, friction as there was the past 2 years, that maybe that can improve things. I don't know, but it was a smart move on him to stay in the NFC, because if, championships, I think it matters to everybody. And I'm sure if he gets 2 or 3 more, his rankings in the all-time quarterback list continue to rise. And right now, the Packers is the best place to do it. They have a great roster, and there's no other quarterback that's in his, zip code. Chargers and Williams reach a $60 million deal. Good for him. Got paid his coin. He dealt with some injuries toward the year, and I thought that you could really see how that affected the team offensively. Him being their deep threat. They run a lot of short passes, though. Joe Lombardi, he comes from, their offensive coordinator comes from the Sean Payton school of offense, where, it's about precision and, getting guys open on certain routes. But I do think that, they need to air it out more. And I'll talk a little bit about this after free agency. I was going to drop some stuff on every team, but it's starting to get so dated with all the stuff. I took too long, and I kind of missed my window to kind of really set the stage for what I thought the offseason was going to be now with these trades. And I think the Deshaun Watson, whenever that situation takes care of itself, and if he does not face criminal charges, I think you're going to see a couple of NFC teams go hard after him, because he truly presents a Super Bowl window for a lot of teams now, especially with the way things have shaken out in the AFC. Panthers listening to offers for McCaffrey, a first round pick and a player. If they can finagle that, they can finagle it. But I don't know what team would want to trade a first round pick and a real player for a running back. Granted, a running back that is a lethal weapon out in the backfield, but he's been hurt 2 of the past 3 years. It really seems like Ron Rivera ran him into the ground. There was a couple of seasons where he just was not coming off the field at all. And I don't think that's the way you maximize your asset. Especially at the running back position. Your body just has only so many hits that they can take until after it starts breaking down. You just see that with running backs. medicine has progressed at such a point that quarterbacks are playing longer, basketball players are playing longer. The one thing that we have not been able to increase is running back shelf life. They're still falling off like flies. And no matter how well you take care of your body, I think taking hits just does something to it that, you cannot, recuperate from. No matter how well, no matter how clean you eat, multiple hits on your body in certain places, you just can't recover from it. So if they're able to, finagle that and, get him traded for a first round pick, that's good. But, Panthers fans, I talked about this in the thing and I'll drop it later when I talked about that team, is their coach is just incompetent. He just, what he says, what he does, none of it makes any sense. They say they want to run the ball 30 times. You think you would want to keep arguably the best running back in the league if you want to do that, especially in a year where it's playoffs or bust. The owner's not going to take another bad season from him. So you would think with the way that he says he's dedicated to the run game, he would keep the best running back and try to grind it out, but doesn't look like they're trying to do that. The running game just fell off a cliff as soon as he got hurt. So it's draft time, it's free agency time. Maybe they can get a replacement, but you're not going to get somebody as good as him. So, okay, so we'll go ahead and leave it there. Today was the deadline for tags. Robinson on the Jags got tagged. I don't know why. Schultz got tagged. Gesicki got tagged. Robinson, he just hasn't been, the offensive line's been disappointing. He's not a blue chip player. I understand maybe not losing the asset, maybe see if you can trade him, but he's obviously not the answer, especially for big money. But the Jags are a team that doesn't really have that high of a payroll. So if he's just solid, if he's above average, they're probably thinking we should keep him to protect our young quarterback Lawrence, and then just go from there. So the tag season, obviously that's the biggest inhibitor of making the NFL, the NBA, with players being able to move and to go freely. They just throw that tag on you, and that's the end of your chapter. So, all right, we'll go ahead and leave it there. The game is the game.
So what's up, man? What's up with you otherwise, The game is a game. Always.